Hi everyone, this is Tamir and this is my dinner guest project. For this project, we had to come up with a three-course menu consisting of an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. These are the ingredients that I laid out for my caprese skewers. I have grape tomatoes, fresh basil, fresh mozzarella balls, and of course, the toothpicks. Skewers are fine, but I had toothpicks on hand, which works great. I placed everything in their respective bowls. I separated the mozzarella, the amount I would need, the same for the grape tomatoes. Those ended up being too much, so I just put the rest back. I didn't bother separating the basil because you can kind of eyeball how much you would need based on the length of the skewer and how many you're making. These are the main ingredients that I used for my main course. I already had cauliflower in the freezer that I stored when I bought a huge amount, so I didn't need to buy a separate head of cauliflower. I also have pre-portioned chicken in the freezer, so that helps me save a lot of time as well. Just like my appetizer, I organized all the ingredients in their separate bowls. I sliced the mushrooms, I chopped the parsley, measured out the yogurt and the half and half, and this is all ready to go. Green beans for the main course, I put them on a baking sheet tray. Already put salt and pepper on them and sprayed avocado oil spray on them because I think it's a little easier. But you could also use olive oil, which I have here. You could also use like a half a teaspoon of olive oil, mix it all together, season it however you like, and pop it in the oven for 14 minutes. My dessert took the least amount of prep time. The only thing that I had to do was mix all the ingredients together and measure out the skim milk. But other than that, this was pretty easy. For the aspect of time management, when you need to cook a recipe, I feel like these little tips and tricks help because this is what I do. If you're not familiar with the recipe, you can read it a few times over just to see what you need to get from the store and where you need to get it, like how many trips you need to do in case one store doesn't have it all. And also to get familiar with the instructions of the recipe, like what you're going to cook. The second one is to get organized, and that is to have a mise en place, as you saw in my previous shots. I had everything in little bowls. So for the dinner guest project, we had to do an appetizer, a main course, and a dessert. And for all three courses, I did a mise en place. And a mise en place technically just means everything in place, which just means that all your ingredients are organized. You have them ready to go. This way you are focused. You are not frantic, because I know sometimes if you're on a time crunch and you need to get dinner or lunch on the table really fast, you kind of forget certain things. So mise en place helps you just be organized a little more. And this way you can also see if you forgot an ingredient. This is something that I personally do, is whenever I go grocery shopping and I get my protein in bulk, in my fish or chicken or what have you, I pre-portion them before it goes into the freezer. So for chicken breasts, for example, I weigh them out 4 ounces each, put them in plastic wrap, put them in a Ziploc container or a Ziploc bag, Ziploc bag, and pop it in a freezer. This way, whenever I make a recipe that calls for chicken, I just grab 2 portions out of the freezer, let it defrost overnight because health codes, and also you don't want to get sick, bacteria and everything. You take it out of the freezer, your pre-portions, let it defrost overnight in the fridge, and when you're ready to cook, you take it out and you just go ahead and cook. The last tip that I have is to see what recipe will take the longest. In my case, the cheesecake will take the longest because it needs to freeze for an hour, and the preparation is pretty quick, but the freezing time takes a long time. So I do that first. Whichever takes the longest, you do that recipe first so that you win time. And in the meantime, multitasking is also a good way to save time. If you're doing a multi-course meal, see whichever recipe is the longest, do that one first, and work your way back. This is what the table looks like. We have 2 entrees, an appetizer for 2 people, and a dessert that we get to share. The type of meal service being shown is the American meal service. This is where everything is prepared in the kitchen. All the components of a dish are placed on a nice warm plate, which is then brought out to the table for the individual to enjoy. My dessert is just placed on the center of the table because when dessert time comes, we can just cut into it and it's still nice and fresh for us to enjoy. I hope you all enjoyed my presentation of my take on the dinner guest project and the menu that I placed before you. Thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope you all have a great day.